Hello everyone, this is Jasmina, and in this video I am going to talk about Duke Virtue days, and these are the instructions on how to use them. So Duke Virtue dates, the days that they happen, they're days when you can manifest to provide protection against negative energies. You can ask to have protection from inadvertent activations of sectors of your house that have annual afflictions, and if you have kids, there's a decent chance that could happen. It can even come from a neighbor's construction. Now, oftentimes they are avoiding their annual afflictions, but that puts their construction in your annual affliction. That's just the way it is. Um, and when you do something, you may be affecting them. So on their annual affliction. So this is just the way it works. And you can also ask for protection from actions that you take or that anybody in your family takes that you do not realize has activated a negative energy. It's also an excellent day for new yang activities such as groundbreaking. That's it's um, it's really good for these kind of things, and even starting a new business. It's a very yang day, so that is what you want to use it for. This is not the day you would use to like move into a house because that's more yin, even though there's a lot of yang activity, and moving into a house is considered yin. Now, this particular type of manifestation has a location in your residence, or you could use it at work, but it's easier in your house. And it is most effective on certain days. You can use other days, but 10% of the days of the year are much stronger than the other 90%. And they happen frequently enough that I would say you simply try to use these dates if you can. In 2024, the Duke Virtue is located in the East 1 subsector. Not all of the East, but just the East 1. So you have to have a pretty good idea about how your house is laid out and have a very good idea where your compass is. And I never trust a physical compass, even one on a phone, because they actually use a needle, a compass needle of some sort, and they don't, and depending on where you are, that can be very far off. So I am a big proponent of using True North because that is where the True North would tell you where the constellations are located. So that being said, this year, East 1 is clear of all of the annual afflictions. It has a star 1 as an annual star, so that's good. So all you have to worry about is maybe what is in your flying star chart and perhaps what is in your purple white chart. And in 2024, the Duke Virtue days are all on Yang Wood days. So that's wood rat, wood tiger, wood dragon, wood horse, wood monkey, and wood dog days. The reason why there will be other wood days, of course, but the reason why these are the Yang Wood is because the rat, tiger, dragon, horse, monkey, and dog are the Yang animals. And the ox, rabbit, snake, goat, rooster, and pig are yin animals. So you can tell what kind of yang or yin element on a given day in English based on these two categories. Now, as the Grand Duke changes position every year, it stands to reason that the location of the Duke Virtue Sector will also change every year. And the Duke for the Grand Duke and the Duke Virtue is the same Duke. It's the same character in Chinese. And so we're talking about the same energy that is the Duke energy. Now, Duke Virtue is sort of like the Grand Duke's best friend, or it's maybe his general. So what you're doing by using the Duke Virtue Day is you are talking to his friend, and the Grand Duke is going to listen more to his friend, or more likely to listen to his friend than he is to you. So he's the go-between between the power of the year and you. So this is why this is a very good day to use. So this is the rules for what day the Duke Virtue will fall on. So if it's a Yang Wood year or a Yin Earth year, it's going to be on a Yang Wood day. And if it's Yin Wood or Yang Metal, they'll be on Yang Metal days. Now you will note that all of these are the Yang version of the elements. And if you look at this in time, we have Yang Wood, Yin Wood, Yang Fire, Yin Fire, Yang Earth, Yin Earth, Yang Metal, Yin Metal, Yang Water, Yin Water. So this is just going around kind of like somewhat in a circle. So it, it just simply follows that pattern. Now you can find all this information on this website if you want to read the whole thing. It is in Chinese. And of course, the translation into English isn't great, but this information is quite clear. So this year, we are in a Yang Wood year. It's a Wood Dragon year, so it's on Wood Dragon days. Next year, it'll be Yin Wood, so it'll be a Yang Metal day. The year after, it's Yang Fire, so it'll be Yang Fire, then Yin Fire, Yang Earth, and so forth. Now, the Duke Virtue sector, the subsector where it is located and where you would want to do your manifestation or activation, it will be in the sector that contains the element that defines the day. So on the last slide, we had that chart that told you what day to look for the Duke Virtue days. Well, that will be the Duke Virtue subsector. And that does work for these years. It's totally consistent. The only issue is there is one set of animal or of year stems that will lead to you want to have a Yang Earth day. Now there is no Yang Earth subsector on a 24 mountain ring, but there are two animal signs that are Yang Earth, and those will be the ones that take over. And we see this in 2023. So this means in 2024, it's East 1, so that's the Yang Wood subsector. Now, the 24 mountain ring does not contain any Yang Earth subsectors, but there are two Yang Earth animals on the ring. So 2023 was a water rabbit year, and this is Yin water, so it's going to have Yang Earth as its day. And the location where this occurs is in both Southeast 1 and Northwest 1, which are the dragon and the dog. And those are the two Yang Earth animals. So that makes 100% sense. And I do think this is the correct way to do it. You can actually use any part of the Duke Virtue Day to do your manifestation. And if it's not a clash day, also do an activation. But there is a best hour of any day, and it's called the Heavenly Assistant Hour, and it is stronger than most of the other hours of the day, but it's not always convenient. So if it's not convenient, don't worry about it, just use the day. This particular one has a pretty good energy throughout the day. Now, this Heavenly Assistant Hour has its own subsector, but you here, because the Duke Virtue has its good sector and it doesn't have an annual affliction and it has a good star, I would say just at least this year in 2024, use that East one that is clear of everything and is the Duke Virtue subsector, and just use the time of the Heavenly Assistant Hour. And I think that will be about as good as you can get. I don't think you really need to do a second thing in that other subsector, and lots of the times that other subsector actually has an annual affliction. Now I have a video entitled Heavenly Assistant Hour that explains how to find this hour, and which subsector it's located in, although for this particular star, it's not terribly important. Now, I will also, of course, as I am for the members, this will be one of these things in May that I will start telling you the dates and times. So if you wanted to have it easy, that's what you do. But if you do the work, you deserve to do it for free. Now, in addition to manifesting on these dates, you can activate the relevant sector, it's a subsector. It's always a subsector on the the Duke Virtue days. That is the first day. That's when you would activate it. Now, activity is always the best activation. And even if you happen to have an annual affliction there, or you have some negative stars in your flying star chart or your purple white chart, you can still work quietly. Now, me recording this video is not really considered working quietly, but I can type up and create the slides that go into the video because that's quiet work. So you have to understand that difference. Now this year, all of East is totally clear of annual afflictions. So you can do any kind of activity this particular year. And in general, it should be activity that furthers your goals. If you are trying to prevent negative things happening at work, you can use this to learn something new to help you at work. So that is the kind of thing. So you have to know what you want, and that will help you choose the right activity. So you can also activate with water or fire, and which one is best will depend on the yearly and the natal stars of your house's flying star chart and the purple white chart. And you basically don't want to weaken a good star. But if you have bad stars there, you're going to activate them by using water or fire. So you have to be really cognizant of what you have in your house. So this year, star one is in the east, and it is better activated with water rather than fire. 1 day of still water is adequate, and because you're only activating a subsector, a 1 or 2 gallon pail of water is enough. And you could leave it there for a couple of days if you like, but really only need the 1 day. And then you can, if you're in a dry climate, you can actually water your plants with it, exterior water, that is, and that would be fine. Otherwise, you can just pour it down the sink. Now, if you have a facing or sitting star of 9 in the east, or you have the 9 in your purple-white chart, this year it's probably better to activate only with activity because water weakens 9. Although it's still activating it, let's say, it's maybe a little bit more dangerous, and in general, activating 9 with fire is better. But we have a 1, and you don't want to, you'll weaken the 1 by putting fire there. So it's a little tricky. Now, don't worry about your base star. Your base star in your flying star chart can be 9. That isn't a problem. It's when it's your facing or sitting star. So you have to know what you have to know how to activate. But if you do not know what you have, activate with activity. Much, much safer. And this year we know you're clear of the annual afflictions. Now, working quietly is a very good form of activation, and that's always safe, even if you have negative stars in that subsector. So, of course, if you have an activated special formation in your flying star chart and in your purple-white chart, you only have to worry about the annual stars. And this is why many feng shui practitioners go out of their way to be able to have these two charts be very good. It will make it will make life a lot easier. Now, manifestation is always safe. It's the safest possible thing. So if you really don't know what you have, just manifest. Now, this date is a date selection type of manifestation, so you can sit facing any direction. but this particular one, location is important. Direction is not important, but location is. You, if you manifest on a clash day, it won't be very productive. It won't protect you terribly well, but it will never harm you. So that's why you can always manifest. The next Duke Virtue Day is only 10 days away from one because have the, remember, it is always a Yang wood, and Yang wood repeats every 10 days. That is for 2024. It's Yang wood. So you only have to worry about 10 days away. So in general, if you have a clash, just don't use that day. Hopefully the next Grand Virtue, or Duke Virtue Day won't have a clash with you. It won't have the same one. It can't have the same one, but it could have a different one. So, but if you place an activation like a water activation in a Duke Virtue subsector on a clash day, that can be harmful. So that's why you have to be careful about activation. So the people, you have to know everybody's in the houses who's normally living there. What are their batsas? And basically, when we're talking about clash days, you really don't want to activate anything on a clash day for anybody's year animal. So the day where you want to place an activation that is a Duke Virtue Day, or even if it's not, you don't want to place it there if that day clashes with somebody's year animal sign. And also for the month for the working adults, because that has to do with career, and that can be quite harmful if it is clashing. Now, if you have a job or somebody in the house has a job that depends on daily or at least weekly new ideas to come out to do the job properly, then you also want to worry about the hour, that person's hour animal, and you don't want to clash on that day either. If you can avoid everybody's clash day in the whole house, that's best. It's not absolutely needed, and depending on the size of your family, it can be quite hard. So you just have to know what you have so that you can get the best day possible. And again, try not to do it. That's a clash year for anybody in the household. If you have more than 12 people, or even 12 people, it's possible you have every animal sign. And then somebody has to sacrifice something. But try not to do that if at all possible. So each Chinese solar month has three, at least three, Duke Virtue days. And because they come every 10 days, that's the same is true. Every Gregorian month also has at least three Duke Virtue days. Now, clashes with the Duke Virtue day, that is, whatever the animal sign of that day is, that's much more important than a clash with the month, that is, the month we're living in. And so a month clash would be one of your four pillar animals clash with the month that we're living in. That's what is meant by a clash. This can reduce the effectiveness of the day, but you can still succeed as well as you would otherwise. You just have to work a bit harder. Now, if it's an extremely important goal, but it's not urgent, you may consider waiting until the next non-clash month. It can make it easier for you to do, but it doesn't necessarily make the outcome any better. It may just make it easier. So I would say this is why don't worry about it. As long as you're willing to work hard, you'll be fine. So in general, the way you do a manifestation is this is the standard way, according to some people. You count down from 64 to 1. And when you're at 1 or at 0, it's up to you, you state your desire or your need for protection. What are you trying to protect? And that's the general way to do any manifestation. It's 64 to 1 and then state your manifestation. Now 64 is because there's 64 hexagrams. So that's why we start with that number. Now it is Definitely possible, and I don't know the next year this might happen, but the Duke Virtue can be with an annual affliction. And in that case, you can only do a manifestation. I think that's pretty clear. You don't want to do any type of activation except working quietly. That is okay because that doesn't activate because you're not doing things. You're not physically moving, you don't have a lot of noise, anything like that. So working quietly is okay, but manifesting is totally safe. So that's basically it. I'd like to thank you for watching. Please feel free to contact me either by email or leaving a comment. And that's basically it. Thank you again for watching.